choose alignment.
Yeah. I think what the issue is can you do it beforehand, or do you... let's go to my normal layout.
You set your pages up so that that's how it's going to
Okay, well let's try the... There it is. So the text inside needs to be selected. At the moment it isn't conformed, and now it is. So that means
you can have your line, if you wanted to, you could have your lines like way apart and you don't have to fiddle around with your numbers.
exactly so. If only there was another option so that you could choose to get them perfectly syncopated.
So can you better go back out, well, and just show people that weren't paying attention that Chrissy had to actually set that up in advance in the preferences.
Who knows about baseline grids? Okay, let's start a new document and go through this again. So, what a baseline grid is that it treats your document a bit like a piece of refill, in that there are a set of lines and the document will always adhere to them. Now, why is that important? It's important if we consider what the other option is. So let's fill this with some ipsum lorem. There's a way to change which placeholder text always gets filled in as well. So if you can get one of your favourite stories as a text document, there's a place you can put that in the preferences file so that instead of it being this gobbledygook, it's something that you might actually enjoy reading. The issue is this. If I have two columns of text and I've done something like that, there is no way to guarantee that these are on cohesive lines with each other, and especially if we're really trying to block things out quite quickly and we're getting our bit of text and we're all approximating our workflow. So if I get that, I copy that there. Yes, it'll go roughly about there. It'll go roughly about there. And the issue that's starting to present itself is that my text lines are all over the shop. What Chrissy was showing you was a way to make sure that they are always fitting on a line. Now, the way that we do that, let's create a new document, is this. I go to the preferences and I'm going to grids. There is this thing called the baseline grid, and that means that the characters will stick to these lines. So going back to the idea of it being an invisible sheet of refill. I'm going to increment every, I don't know, what's my point size going to be? What's my type size going to be? Well, we might want to track backwards and think within a very structured form of thinking, what's my column width going to be? Because if we know our column width, we know that good readability within some people's theories happens at an average of 7 words per line. So if we work to that, or roughly 54 alphabets, which means 54 characters, including spaces and punctuation marks. So if my column is this big and I'm going to conform to 54 alphabets, I know my text is going to be around that size. If my column is that big and we're going to conform to the same idea, my text becomes that size. That's the way that you can figure out, well, what point size should I be? Here, it's a little bit looser than that, so I'm going to say that I'm going to be using an 18-point increment. So that means that the spacing could be quite rangy or not. We'll see what I mean by that. So I'm setting that up. That's all good. I'm going to start it at around 30 millimeters. And nothing happens. Nothing happens because I need to now go View, Extras, no, Grids and Guides, Show Baseline Grid. Fascinating. Let's try that again. It's telling me it's there. No, I'm not in W. View. Why? Why now? Okay, I guess I can come to... Yes, if I get everything off here, and let's... Because this document, in theory, should be able to perform the same thing, unless I've done something very quickly and incorrectly in here. No, that's all good. Let's get this one more time. View.
I used this when I was laying out a novel. The text inside the novel.
Let's go to the window and type in utilities, paragraph styles. Turn that off. Yes, yes, align to grid. That's why it had disappeared. In my paragraph styles, I need to make sure that all lines is selected for the baseline grid. Click on preview and let's see. Murphy's Law. Okay, I need to restart my machine for this. Let's not waste any more time on this.
Can I just... Chrissy might know what the real name of it is. Next to basic paragraphs there. The little thing.
The paragraphs.
That.
The paragraph sign up here.
Yep.
It's the same on Word. If you click on it,
Go back to text.
go back to text.
Hang on. Let's create some type. Yes, that thing there.
No, go back to text.
Text.
Yes. Up next to basic paragraph at the top.
Yep.
The thing
Next to it.
The
The on the left-hand side.
What's that point?
That.
That. Now click on that.
Yes.
And then choose style options. Then your new paragraph or whatever it is, and you can just change. You just click on that and change everything. You don't have to always be opening that box on the side.
Well, there we go. All lines. Ah! Now, that worked, even though it's not wanting to show me it. If I turn it off and on again,
So the baseline grid is there regardless of whether or not you can see it.
yes, exactly so. Indents and spacing. All lines. If I turn it off, if I set it to none, did you see how the leading changed? Now, if we're using this, all lines, and this is a way to get caught out, if I start changing my leading, it won't work. So if I'm now trying to manually correct my leading, see? Doesn't work until I get to a multiplier of that baseline grid. So I've set my baseline grid to 20 point. That means it would change at 40 point and 60 point and 80 point. You could set your baseline grid to be smaller than your point and leading size. So that means you can have half increments. If you're setting something in 12 point, if you make your baseline grid 6 point, then you get these spaces in between, and that's how you can get the syncopated look. Now what this also guarantees is that when I start moving So I'm moving my text block now by pressing the arrow keys, and we see the blue lines moving, but it's waiting till there is an 18-point shift before it snaps up again. Okay, easier if I go down, it would seem. There. That means when I now move between pages that my text will conform to that exact spacing. Let's not do that. I'll just move that over there. And so they are on, let's get that to there, equal lines. Woo.
So when you set your grid to 20,
Yep.
was there an optical reason for that, or just a willfulness on your
It was a
part?
deliberate act of willfulness. I normally set in proportions of, so for 12-point text I'd set it at 6 point. So there's that little bit of extra freedom.
So if you set up the master page,
Yep.
and so you're using it as your template to run right through,
Mm-hmm.
and you're dealing with big blocks like this, and that's a good idea to align it to the baseline grid. But does it make that much difference? Kind of got
It doesn't make a lot of difference. It's a matter of technique. Al Robertson, for example, detested and opposed the baseline grid. He thought it was too rigid. I myself, I prefer it,
I
but
think if you're setting up text in text, so that your page has got two blocks of text that are quite close, like visually quite close, then it's a better option.
it is
than,
better.
than having something that's maybe a little bit out, which
So I
you
was
visually
thinking-
pick up.
But always, but I always like it lines up with the green line. You know, it's smacked, you've got two boxes.
But if there's different point sizes, then it doesn't. Then things are slightly out. And that's what gives you suspicion about your design work. You can't see what's wrong, but it doesn't feel right.
And you can spend a lot of time.
Yeah. Okay, Rebecca, your turn.
You've got lots of images.